we have a special guest in the house, Billy Carson. He is the author of the book I did a review on recently, Compendium of the Emerald Tablets, A Beginner's Guide. And let me tell y'all, I love this book. And we have the author himself, who's also been on several TV shows on Gaia. He has his shows there, and he also is starting, or he has started his own TV network. So I'm going to let him introduce himself in a more, what would I say, intricate way. So go ahead.
Well, first, thanks for having me. Thanks for reaching out. Thank you for buying my book and talking about it on your network. I really appreciate that. I got a lot of love from your subscribers. So far, it's been just a lot of great things people have said about you. And actually how I found you was an artist that I work with named Cruz. His wife follows your YouTube channel. And so me and Cruz have done music videos and concerts together and everything else. And he called me up and told me that you did a review on my book, and that his wife saw it, and that you would love to have me on your show. So.
Oh, I didn't know that we had that connection.
Yeah, that's how it happened. So that was pretty cool. So my name is Billy Carson. I am a best-selling author of that book, Compendium of the Emerald Tablets. And I'm also a TV host on many, many shows. You can look me up on IMDb. But I've been on the Travel Channel, the History Channel, Discovery Channel, the Science Channel, Gaia TV, Dame Dash Studios TV. And now I've also launched my own TV network called ForbiddenKnowledge.tv with the number 4. And so that's a conscious streaming network that we just went live with just 2 days ago, and already getting some subscribers in there with to look at some of the great content we have. And so I'm here with you tonight to talk about all the great questions that you and your viewers have, and hopefully I can, impart some knowledge and wisdom to everyone, and leave people feeling like they learned a little bit more before they left this channel.
Well, thank you for being here. It's an honor, and I just, I wanted you on my channel for a while, and I was like, I don't know, maybe he's too busy, or he don't want to talk to me, but I reached out, so thank you. I appreciate it, like, much gratitude.
No problem.
Okay, so let's just start off by talking about your book.
Yeah, okay.
You're probably sick of this, but let's talk about it some more.
Oh, no, I'm not sick of it. Never.
Okay, well, that's good. That's good, because I know if you talk about something a lot, if you love it, you'll never get sick of it. So
that's right.
So I see that you kind of put your own spin and interpretation on the Emerald Tablets by your travel, and you did a lot of research, and it's really good. I was very impressed. It opened up my consciousness, because like whenever I read something, things click, and then dots start connecting. So that definitely happened with your book. And to anybody who has not read the Emerald Tablet, this will help you understand it on a little bit more than you would, because I bought the Emerald Tablets and I could not understand it one bit. I put it to the side, and I picked it up 2 years later, as I learned more. And then I read it again, and I read it again and again and again. And every time I read it, I found something different or new. And then when I read, your book, it opened up a whole nother dimension, basically.
Thank you.
So what I wanted to ask you is, what was the most profound thing that you've ever seen during your travels? Because I know you've taken pictures in your travels.
I think the most profound thing, and I've been around the world 2.5 times now, and I've been in jungles, hiking 37 miles in jungles, climbing mountains. I've been in deserts way out in the middle of nowhere. But still, the most profound thing that I've seen so far has been the Great Pyramid at Giza. Actually not seeing it, but being able to go inside of it, being encased in all those multi-millions of tons of stone, climbing up the Grand Gallery into the King's Chamber, looking at the King's Chamber, being surrounded by those multi-ton stones of magnetic granite, and feeling that buzz of magnetism go through my body. It's just something you can't even really grasp from pictures and other people's words. It's something like when you experience it, it's on a totally different level. And you know, the thing about the Great Pyramid, there's so much mass there from all the stones that when you're inside of it or next to it, time slows down for you just a little tiny bit. Time moves a little bit slower because it creates a time well. That's how much mass is there. It's enormous. It's one of the most incredible things I've ever seen or been inside of.
Was it claustrophobic to be in there? Because I know it looks very small and cramped.
Yeah,
And
no.
go ahead.
Some people probably would get claustrophobic because some of the passageways and areas are very, very narrow and tight. And then once you get all the way up into the Grand Gallery, you really are enclosed by millions of tons of stone. So it could make some people very uncomfortable. This one guy who, when I came down the Grand Gallery, he was going up when I was coming down. We passed each other. But when he got to the top, he didn't even go to look inside the King's chamber. He came right back down. He was hyperventilating.
Wow.
So it got him nervous, you know, and it can do that. I mean, you know, so when I turned my camera on to record what I was, you know, that room I was in, the King's chamber, the magnetism was causing all these waves to come across my screen.
Wow.
You know, so it's just an amazing, amazing place. And to be able to conceive how this was built, it's just mind blowing. It's just an incredible structure.
I bet. Like, so I don't know if you know this about me or not, but I used to be a mortician when I was
Mm,
younger,
wow.
and we studied ancient Egypt for like the first 6 weeks of school because
Mm,
that's where the funerary industry came from basically. So that's I learned a lot there, but when I studied the pyramid and how the structures were, I saw a similarity between the pyramid and the human, the human head or the human skull.
mm-hmm,
And I put the emerald tablets and then all of that information together.
mm-hmm,
And I believe that, the process of, transformation and death and, transforming out of the physical into the, I guess, I would say spiritual, but it's still a form of matter. So like I would call it the plasma. And
mm-hmm,
so with all those, stones and the waves and the crystals and all of that and the water and the frequency in the pyramid, combined with the temperature and then a lot of the mummification process that they would use, seems like it was extracting gases, which would then be converted into plasma and then
mm,
maybe shot up into the heavens, to the
mm-hmm,
ethers. And
yeah,
so that's how I view the pyramids, as almost like a spaceship, like
mm-hmm,
a spaceship. When he says it's below the Sphinx,
yeah.
I don't know if you saw it on my Instagram where I put the cross or horizontal section um, photo of the human skull or the brain, and it looked just like a lion.
Mm.
Um,
Interesting. I didn't see that one
so
yet.
it would be like the spine,
Okay.
and like because people are always saying, as above, so below, as within,
Right.
but without. So
Mm-hmm.
it has multiple meanings to
Oh
like
yeah.
someone who is versed in different sciences.
Right. Yeah, there's many layers to it. You
Hmm.
know, the Great Pyramid itself is a multifunctional stone computer. So the Great Pyramid serves multiple purposes. One purpose was to generate wireless electricity. That's why it was built on top of an aquifer. Now the water from the aquifer has dried out because the Nile has shifted. But back then it was a very flourishing, moist, wet, swampy area. And the aquifer underneath the Great Pyramid would generate, the movement of the water would generate physiostatic electricity, which would cause ions to move up through the Queen's Chamber, up into the Grand Gallery. And then there used to be these resonating rods in the Grand Gallery, which were removed. You can see the slots where they sat, but the rods themselves have been taken out. All the technology was stripped from the Great Pyramid, and then those particles or those ions would then move up into the King's Chamber, where they would get a boost and then get projected out through the apex, and then from there they would get captured by the obelisks. Would capture them almost like wireless electric poles,
Hmm.
and
Like
then
Tesla wanted to
transmit
do.
around. Yeah, exactly. So, you know, then you have the fact that it also has these opening shafts on the sides of the Great Pyramid that point towards different star systems:
Mhm.
Epsilon, Aldebaran, Sirius, Orion. depending on the time of year. And these shafts will then push out hydrogen frequencies. Now, the most abundant frequency in the universe to communicate on, or the best, I should say, the best frequency to communicate on is the frequency of hydrogen because it's the most abundant. That's what I meant to say. So, if you're trying to communicate with star systems that are light years away, you would communicate on a hydrogen frequency. The same exact thing we're doing right now in modern science. We send out our information and our location and, hey, how are you? We come in peace and all that. We send that out every single day in the hydrogen frequency. So they were using the Great Pyramid for communication. They were using it for portals. Thoth, I wrote about it in my book. He put the halls of Amenti underneath the Great Pyramid, about a mile deep, and these rooms that he talked about in the Emerald Tablets were discovered a year and a half ago underneath the Great Pyramid. They extend out for a mile underneath the sand, hundreds and hundreds of arch rooms where he talked about these rejuvenation chambers used to be. So it had so many purposes. It served so many purposes. You know, the shaft of Osiris is under there. It's an amazing place.
So when you say rejuvenation, you mean like through frequency?
No, so they had these chambers that they would go with. They looked like almost like sarcophaguses.
Mm-hmm.
They would lay in them, but they were technologically advanced.
Oh, I think I saw those. Are they like black?
And they would rejuvenate the avatar body because they would make clone bodies.
Because they would
transfer the consciousness into the body.
Yeah, I saw an article on that. Now I probably did a video on it too. But
okay.
The material that it was made out of was like it was to excite the electrons or something. I looked up the science of it, but yeah, you're right. Like now I remember what you're talking about. So that's very interesting. Do you think that they waited to find those things, or have they always been searching and they didn't find them? Or do you think that they wanted to reveal at a certain time, or to be revealed at a certain time?
I think that they probably started looking more recently for some of this stuff. And they put up a satellite a few years ago that had the capability of doing ground penetrating radar over that region.
Mm-hmm.
And since they've done this, they've now discovered hundreds of pyramids at Giza underneath the sand. They were buried. They weren't buried because sand blew over them. They were buried on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So they found even more cities, more ancient cities, more pyramids than they ever thought were even possible, and more structures deep, deep beneath the earth that they ever thought were possible from this satellite using ground penetrating radar from space. So since they found all this stuff, they're now finding ways to explore it. And there's a lot of underground tunnels in Egypt that go out for miles, even into other countries. So if you have the access, secure access, in other words, security, military security, don't allow anybody else in there, and you get down in there, you can maneuver through those tunnel systems that have been built from a very long time ago. And you can even move things in and out from Giza, and nobody would ever see you.
Wow. They tried to set the White House up like that, right?
Yeah.
Set Washington up like that.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to show you the picture I had posted.
Yes. Okay, right. Yeah.
So it looks like a lion walking, and so I did a side-by-side comparison.
Yeah, I love it.
The spaceship would be, the spine.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's interesting how things work on so many levels or dimensions that just one sentence can be a whole book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Saying it's almost like telepathy, almost 3D telepathy is what I'm calling it.
Right.
Like you can say so many things by saying one sentence if you have the right knowledge behind it.
Mm-hmm.
How to
absolutely.
Okay. So, now I wanted to talk about the waves and the particles and the quantum existing in other, like, it's possible for you to exist in several realities at once. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. As a matter of fact, I'm doing a movie called Quantum Walkers right now. And this movie is about me. I'm actually the star of the movie, and I'm on Earth here in the Rothschild concept. And then I'm also on Earth in 2025, both Earth-type 2025. I'm also on Earth in a parallel universe, which took the Tesla concept or Tesla psychology, and that planet is way ahead of this Earth. That Earth is almost a type 2 civilization, and this Earth here is not even a type 0 yet. We haven't even gotten to 1. So basically, in both places, I'm experimenting with a Jed pillar Ankh from ancient times.
Mm-hmm.
And a Jed pillar Ankh has something called a condenser built into the Ankh. And so in ancient times, before Egypt was even called Egypt, in the land of Chem, and even back going into ancient Sumeria, this Ankh would resonate at the frequency of the king or the Anunnaki that held it. And it was the key for them to walk through the Stargate. You couldn't walk through a Stargate unless you had the resonating, oscillating Jed pillar Ankh. And it had to match the subatomic frequency of your body. It had to go match your body's oscillations, or you couldn't walk through. That's how they prevented people randomly just walking through these gates. If they were to take it over or by force, they wouldn't be able to go in it anyway, because why? They don't have the Jed pillar Ankh that matches their subatomic frequency. So on both of these planets, I'm experimenting with these Jed pillars and trying to get it to match my frequency. And simultaneously on both planets, I make it match. And then my consciousness jumps into that body, and my consciousness from that futuristic Earth jumps into this body. And it's like we swap places in parallel universes. And then I'm here, and I'm now, after the panic settles in, I'm trying to figure out how to help mankind get to the golden age, because I see where the failures went, and I see that we're on the Rothschild plan. And then over there, I see that we're on the Tesla mindset, but I see we're in a golden age, but I see the fall coming. I see people doing things that are evil. I see people trying to take over things and dominate. Wars maybe starting to pop up and things like that. The fall of the golden age is coming, so I try to stop the fall of the golden age. So I'm trying to bring mankind to the golden age on one reality and then stop the fall. So that's quantum walkers, and it's based off of real quantum mechanics and quantum physics. I think people are going to like it.
I mean, it sounds like something I would definitely watch for sure. And that's a really good concept. And I'm just like trying to imagine it. And I'm like, that's cool how you're going to do it, like trying to stop it from ending so that you can start it on the other side. So how would that work? Like,
so we can keep it straight instead of, because we keep rising and falling. Civilizations have already risen and fallen on Earth at least 4 times, according to the Mayans. And also, according to Thoth in the Emerald Tablets, he talks about the rise and fall of civilizations. And he says that everywhere he goes in the universe, he finds civilizations of men rising and falling. But nobody says that you have to fall. So I'm trying to maintain this status where we maintain a goal. We get to a golden age and we maintain it and sustain it. So, it's part of the plan. But the true reality in the quantum world is we do exist in all places, in all states, in superpositions of ourselves at all times.
Okay, so the goal is to get to oneself?
You can't really get to oneself because we are in a multiverse with parallel universes stacked on that, and all superpositions of everything that can happen is happening right now in real time. So in this universe, you and I are talking on this technological device, but in another parallel universe, you can be at work, you can be at a movie, you can be dancing. I mean, anything you could think of is happening all at once. And all these things are happening. The past, present, and future are actually happening all at the same time. So imagine that you're in your house right now. Now envision yourself in different rooms within that house that you're living in at the same time. And it can even be at different ages. And now a person from a higher dimension could look down at you in that house and see you in every different room, even at different ages. You're still in the same house, but the higher dimension, anything above the 3rd dimension, will see you in the past, present, and future all at the same exact time. Because time is actually an illusion. It's something that we install to keep us on a track, to keep ourselves sane. Many worlds, multiverse. That's right.
So. That's right. Yeah, I think that's what's kind of going on right now. I know a lot of people don't talk about it or, maybe feel it, but I think that we're shifting into a higher dimension right now. I mean, if people look at the sky, they can kind of see something is not right. Clouds look low. There's different colors now, so just a lot of people are aware of it, and they're kind of putting it out there in a secret way or a coded way, many celebs or, just people in general, but a lot of people just don't even know. So what do you think about those people who are not even somewhat conscious? Do you think that they're in for some type of surprise, or just are they just not going to get certain levels of knowledge or frequency that may be abundant and available at this time?
Well, I think that there's people on this planet that are 20 and 30 years old that are really centuries old. Some people are even thousands of years old. And I think that there's people that are on this planet that are 50 and 60 that are brand new babies that just were born. In other
Hmm.
words, I believe in reincarnation. And I think that the lessons that you don't learn, no matter what stage mankind is in its evolution, the lessons that you don't learn, you'll come back and you'll get another chance to gain that knowledge and that wisdom. It's just like a video game. As above, so below applies to everything. So if you're in a video game, the first thing you do is you come to life, and then you have to try to win that level. If you don't gain enough knowledge to win that level, you die, and then you get reincarnated and come back again as another person, another one of your little men. And you start all over again. And you keep doing it over and over again. As you get better and better, you reach higher levels in the game
Hmm.
until you reach the ultimate level. That's the same thing as like becoming an ascended master in real life. So there's levels to the game, and there's also reincarnation in the game. So I believe that the people that are not as quite as conscious as others or completely blind to everything will be sent back into the reincarnation cycle until they learn their life's lessons and ascend with mankind as we move forward.
So would 9D be like a creator of a video game after they've beaten some other games and now they want to create their own video game?
Well, it's
Or like
interesting.
movie director?
I think that there's creation of universes at every level. So even we're in the third dimension, and we've created universes on disks. There's a video game called No Man's Sky. It has 80 quadrillion planets,
Hmm.
an unlimited number of life forms on every planet, and the game never ends. And everything is created on the fly using the Mandelbrot set for fractal holography. And so we've created our own universe already. And
Like
I think that
um,
every
like the
you say
cat on Men in Black had the galaxy in the
right
its little
in,
car.
in the marble, right?
Hmm.
And so I think that on every level, on every dimension, there's creation going on a consistent basis to duplicate the reality that is in that existence. And we now have done it ourselves, and we're going to add artificial intelligence to The Sims, which is another video game. And The Sims, they go to work, they wake up, they have babies, they go to parties, they do all this stuff. But what happens when they become conscious with the AI technology? They're going to be asking, who created us? Who is our God? What is the Big Bang? All the questions we have, they're going to be asking, and we created that. So the Big Bang is when we turn on the game console, So, but they're going to be living their lives in this world, in that digital world, which is nothing but another holographic matrix. So it's the same step down, as above, so below. And I think that no matter where you look in the dimensions, it's always going to be something very similar going on with creation.
So you think they're going to be 3D or like 3D Sims or
To
just?
them, they are 3D. They believe that they're 3D in their reality. We see them as look like 3D, even though they're really only two-dimensional. We only see the simulation of 3D. But in their reality, they really believe that they're three-dimensional. Just like in our reality, we believe that we're three-dimensional. We can move forward, back, up, and down. From the fourth dimension, they can see right through everything. They can see through your house. They can see through everything, your body.
Mhm.
Fifth dimension can see the fourth and down. Sixth can see the fifth and down, so forth and so on. So every dimension has more visibility, more view, more access to the different realms.
Mhm. Yeah, I have like notes on all the dimensions, and I was reading a book, and it explained them as far as details, and then they went to a simpler explanation with clothing.
Mm.
But yeah, I understand the dimensions, and that's why I say, are we really on 3D or 4D, or with technology, are we on 4D? Because like they have
Well,
the technology.
our physical avatar bodies are in 3D, but your consciousness is multidimensional. So it's really how you become ascended in your consciousness, because you can literally ascend to other higher dimensions of consciousness, conscious planes.
Mhm.
Even through meditations, you can ascend out past the third dimension. But
Are there physical bodies past the fourth or the third dimension?
I think that the physical bodies right now are still in the third dimension. This is my personal opinion. Everybody's got a slightly different opinion about it. But I just think that for right now, that the three-dimensional body is still in the third dimension, but consciousness, you can walk around in a three-dimensional body with a four or five-dimensional consciousness
I believe
all day
that.
long. Yeah.
So, what do you think about the Earth? Do you think it also shifts into a physical uh, version of the third dimension? Like a lot of people say, oh, flat Earth, and then sphere Earth. Well, fourth dimension would be torus Earth or donut shaped Earth that goes around like this.
Mm-hmm.
So, would that be something that's possible as
I
well?
think that depending on what dimension you're in, planets are viewed differently because you're going to be looking at different different spectrums of electromagnetic waves.
Hmm.
Everything in the entire universe is an electromagnetic wave. Everything is a waveform. Your body is a body of light. I'm a body of light. We collapse these waves into solid matter through consciousness, but in true reality, the collapsing into these solid bodies, or what we call these avatar bodies, are actually an illusion. The planet is even an illusion. There's 7.5 billion people on Earth. And because atoms are 99.999% empty space, if I took all the empty space from all the atoms out of all the people on the planet, I can fit everyone into one sugar cube. We're not even here.
And
So
my daughter, she's like,
mhm,
I don't know if she's out there, but she
yeah,
said that if there was a black hole about this size on the Earth, it would cause the, you know, the torus shape or the pull. I don't know how she explained it, but
mhm,
she's only 9. I mean, no, she's 11 now.
yeah,
But she was saying if there was a black hole this size that were to, come on Earth or something like that, it would totally change the entire planet. So
mm,
I don't know if she wanted to ask you that, but that's the you said the size of a sugar cube. Yeah, I think that's what she was trying to tell me in a roundabout way. The
mm,
same thing you
yeah,
were telling me.
right.
So she's very scientific too, but I guess what I wanted to kind of ask was, let me get some of the questions from the viewers. But
Mhm.
while I look for those, do you believe that? Because some people, a lot of conspiracy. Do you believe that actual physical outer space exists, like the rocket?
Yeah.
I know you have. I know you're starting your own like space. Um,
Mhm.
what space travel?
It's a tech. We're a tech company, so we're a space agency, but we're doing research and development on space technologies that can not only be used in space, but also can be used to help people on this planet. Like for example, one of them is a perpetual motion generator that can be utilized to generate electricity, unlimited source of electricity using magnetic fields, which require no gasoline or no fuel whatsoever. You don't even have to have solar panels or nothing like that. It will keep itself going eternally unless you turn it off. But that can be used in space because you need power in space, but also it can be used on Earth in third world countries that don't have any power. Houses out there don't have any electricity or power, or have a lot of electric brownouts. This can be connected to a house and turn the house on, and they can have electricity 24 hours a day, 7 days a week without having to worry. But
Isn't
the
that
space company,
technology? Oh, I'm so
huh?
sorry. Isn't that technology? Didn't Tesla and you said the ancient Egyptians had it? Well, if we've had that type of technology for a long time, well, how come we still have to pay for electricity or they won't launch it on that level?
Oh yeah. Well, you see, the key is now it's all about timing.
Hmm.
So when Tesla tried to make his Wardenclyffe Tower, he built the Wardenclyffe Tower. They decided to destroy it. It was generating free electricity, and they realized in their mind they thought they couldn't make money off of it, which you could have made money off of it. They didn't. They weren't good thinkers, so they destroyed it and went with the oil. Um, you know, a lot of other inventors have come up with different types of energy generating devices over the decades, and it has been suppressed, and some of them have even been killed. Now the timing is right as the world is moving more towards green energy, and the reality of not using fossil fuels anymore and moving into green is becoming more prevalent. Now is a time where inventors can create these types of things, but still, in my mind, the best thing to do is to not patent the idea, is to make it open source. So all of my stuff is open source and will be open source, because once you patent something, then you make yourself prone to getting prodded and probed by the government, military industrial complex. And also they can enact eminent domain on your invention and completely shut it down. So if you make it an open source invention and there's nothing anybody can do, and the whole world can get it and download it and use it, and you can sell it, they can sell it, anybody can sell it. That's what we're doing, all open source stuff. So, but I do believe that space is real. In other words, we're living in a holographic matrix, in my personal opinion. But as we perceive it from the third dimension, there are atmospheric gases that we're breathing in. We are breathing in oxygen molecules. We are able to fly in planes.
Mm-hmm.
We are able to go, in my opinion, into space. And there's a lot of great science that's coming to the forefront in this modern time, in this day and age. And I think that it's going to be an amazing place within the next 15 to 20 years. A lot of our younger kids on this planet are going to see some amazing things that are going to literally blow, our minds. And some of us will be so old. Hopefully we're still here to enjoy some of this stuff, but there's a lot of great technological advances on the way. And sometimes we see the news and we see things that are going on and we get a little discouraged as to the state of the world as it is right now. But from where I came from the 1970s till now, I see a huge change in consciousness. I see a huge change in the way that people are on this planet. And the planet is probably in a better state than it is now than it's ever been. Even though there's still a lot of turmoil going on around the planet, there has been even worse times than this in the past. And in more recent past, just in the Papal Inquisitions alone, where they killed and tortured 80 million people globally, to push Christianity around the planet. So we're in a time now where we stumble and we fall, and we have to learn how to get up, and we have to learn how to take control of this planet. We have to learn how to get the elites out of our business, get them from controlling 7.5 billion people. And it starts with unification, it starts with unity and unconditional love. And once we have that for one another and each other and respect each other, then we can come together and we can start participating in their game and oust them and take over the control of this planet.
Right. I don't participate in their game anyway.
That's right.
I don't vote. I don't do none of that. So, but I think a lot of people have come to that, and they don't really play that game anymore. But so we're almost out of time. So I guess I'll ask you the last question that I was curious about personally. So, what was your strangest, or what was the thing that brought you into your level of consciousness, or the strangest thing that happened to you, like maybe in your childhood, to get you on this path?
I'll tell you. So, when I was a baby, I had a very strange experience. I stayed in the hospital for 2 weeks after I was born, fighting for my life. I'm Rh negative, and I was rejecting the pathogens from my father's blood. And I had to get infusions, which luckily my mom's Rh negative, so I was getting infusions from her. It took me 2 weeks to get home. By the time I got home, I was a 10-pound baby, and I was big. And I remember when my grandmother sat me on her lap, my Nana, she was giving me some table food. She was giving me like the juices from a bluefish.
Wait. Before you stop, I mean, because I think the same thing happened to me. I don't even know the story because I'm Rh negative. Did you choke? Did you choke?
Did I choke?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What do you mean choke? Like
you were getting ready to talk about the food.
Oh! I didn't choke. No, I didn't choke. I just remembered it, and I told everybody that I remembered it. So I remembered that I didn't know what it was, but I remember that I got table food. That bluefish, when I was younger, we ate a lot of fish because my grandfather used to fish all the time. And I ate fish until I was probably 2 years old. And after that, I stopped eating fish because I was afraid of it after I saw it moving around the table. But I remember that. And so by 10 months, I was walking, I was talking, and I was reading children's books. By 1 year old, I was already reading novels. My first novel was The Sea Wolf by Jack London at 1. And my father would make me do book reports every single week from that age. So I have to give him a special tribute for even putting that into me, because he's the one who got me in the reading thing. So my aptitude was pretty decent, and my recall ability was very decent from a young age. Once I turned 7 years old, I was living in Opa-locka. This is in 1977 in Miami. We left New York and moved to Miami. We lived next to an airport, so I was watching the airplanes go over, and it would take them a few minutes to clear the horizon. Nothing else to do back then. No cable TV, no cell phones, no beepers, no pages. 4 channels on TV. That's all you had. And so I was just watching the planes, and then this object came over, and it was like an oval. It wasn't round like a perfect circle. It was like an oval, and it was glowing, and it cleared the horizon in seconds. And I was like, wow, what was that? It didn't have a fuselage, didn't have a cockpit, didn't have wings. I knew it wasn't an airplane. I didn't know what a UFO was. That wasn't even in my vocabulary yet. Then
Hmm.
it came back and it hovered above me, and then it took off the way it came in at crazy speed. So the next day, I went to my school, Rainbow Park Elementary in Miami, which was only 7 houses up the road from me. And I took down all the Encyclopedia Britannicas on aerospace. And I started researching aerospace technology in 1977. That's
Wow.
when I started.
They wanted you to see it, huh?
I think so.
I've seen some stuff too, like me and my kids see it because I live by an airport too, a little
Oh,
private
wow.
airport, and I saw stuff when I was a kid. I'm RH negative, so I think we have a lot in common in that area, and
Yeah.
probably I guess since our time is almost up, we can't really go into the RH negative aspect,
Yeah.
but that's probably a whole separate video.
Yeah, we'll come back and do another one.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I mean, this is an honor. This is an honor, and I'm just very thankful for you coming on my channel.
Thank you.
And y'all don't forget to go get the Compendium of the Emerald Tablets Beginner's Guide. Shameless plug.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
So,
And right now on Amazon.com, if they go to Amazon.com and get the Compendium of the Emerald Tablets, or you can just type in Billy Carson, it should pop right up. But there's a 10% off coupon on Amazon.com right now, so you get a little discount if you go there.
oh, that's nice. Thank you.
Okay.
So I guess I'll say bye-bye and thank you. Thank you for coming on my channel. We have to do
Thank
it
you.
again, or maybe I don't know. I can come on your channel, or
Yeah,
what you want.
that'd be great. I'd love to do that. Absolutely. I'd love to get you, put you on my show and put you on my TV network as well.
Oh, really? I
Yeah.
wasn't expecting all that, but okay. I'll t-
Absolutely.
I appreciate that so much. Okay, so I'm gonna sign off